discuss education, entrepreneurship, and innovation. Today we're going to see an interview that I did last week while I was in Europe. This is my personal favorite of the interviews I've done. I interviewed somebody who I love, respect, and really cherish their friendship. My best friend, Kingsley Hayford, and you're going to learn a lot about him in the next in the interview. But he is my absolute best friend, besides my lovely wife, obviously. He's always been there for me when times were really rough. He's a brilliant guy. He's got a lot to offer, and he literally changed the face of basketball in Europe, especially in the Netherlands. It's a great interview. Listen up and please enjoy. I had a blast, as you'll see in a few minutes. All right, thank you. Welcome to the Louisa Project 2027, where we discuss education, entrepreneurship, and innovation. In today's show, we have a treat. My best friend, mentor, and confidant, Mr. Kingsley Hayford, is with us, and he's going to discuss his life in youth sports and being a turnaround specialist for semi-pro basketball teams in Europe. Without further ado, I'll let Kingsley introduce himself and tell you a little bit about himself. Kingsley?
Yes. Thanks, my dear friend and brother, Michael Redmond, and the opportunity to share my experiences with you all. My name is Kingsley, as my brother says, Kingsley Hayford. I live in Maastricht, in the southern part of Holland. I've been living here for about 28 years, and I've been very deeply involved in the social and the local organization of sports as a tool to really keep kids off the street and try to get them involved in the community here. It's been a big success. Right now, I'd like to go ahead and share some of my experiences with you.
All right, my man. All right,
let's go.
we're gonna rock and roll now. Let's do this. All right, now we're getting serious now. Okay, so we're gonna let's start from the beginning. All right, you started off in youth sports here.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that when you first started, basketball was nearly non-existent here in this area of the
Close to non-existent. Yeah. Close to non-existent.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the program that you ran that really brought basketball to Maastricht in the Netherlands.
Well, first I have to say this. I'm really a basketball fanatic. I mean, I can talk about basketball all day. I can talk about basketball all day. I mean, it's my life. But also, teaching the sport is something that I enjoy doing. You know, apart from the fact that I played myself for a while, and you know, for all my experience that I've had over the years, I think it's a good thing to impart that into the new generation, you know, coming up. But when I started basketball here in Maastricht myself, I was around 1998, so that's a long time ago. Yeah, that's a long time ago. I mean, it was not the idea.
I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah. Oh. No, but when I started this, I really didn't know where it was going to go. I really wanted to share my experience with the kids, but it took off like, you know, bushfire. I went to one of the schools and tried to get the kids involved. I organized a day clinic and stuff like that. But when they got what I wanted, what I was really trying to teach them, they were sold. You know, I mean, it was in a short time. I had about 8 to 10 schools requesting that I come in and do clinics and, you know, do some demonstrations and get the kids going in basketball. Fortunately, the club I was working with, I was coaching at, they were also interested in getting into their youth programs. You know, so it was a perfect situation.
Yeah, that is.
You know, it was a perfect situation. And the third factor that really fueled everything was that around the same time there was this type of program in big cities in Holland where they wanted to use sports as a tool to really keep kids off the street and get them busy going. So personally, all these factors fell together at the right time.
It's all about timing, yes.
Yeah, it's all about timing.
Yes,
And so it went very easy from there on. You know, I had all these parties who were interested in what I had. You know, I mean, if you have an idea and you see other parties that have interest in the idea you have,
makes things
and
much easier.
oh boy,
you get all kinds of support.
Exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
That's correct.
So it took off like that, and yeah, really the results was amazing.
Yeah. What Kingsley won't tell you, because he's a humble guy, is when we first got here, there was like no basketball courts, no public basketball courts in this area, right? In the city of Maastricht in the Netherlands, right? Now, every little section of Maastricht has maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 courts, depending on the size of the area. Tell us a little bit about that, how things started picking up for basketball.
Well, like I said first, it started with a demonstration in one school. Apparently, I mean, I have that effect on kids when I walk in.
Big guy. You can't tell because he's sitting down. Are you 6'5", 6'6"?
6'6".
6'6", yeah. He's a big guy.
And when I start doing my magic with these kids and get them, I mean, everybody gets involved, and I have a way of really influencing the atmosphere in such a demonstration area, and that really caught on very big. Very big. I mean, I'm not on this. I'm not exaggerating when I said very big. It really caught on. We had other schools, soliciting my services over there to go there and do stuff. So I got my club also involved. So the idea was that kids who are interested can go to the club. But the step from just a demonstration lesson to competition in clubs was too big. There has to be a step in between.
Yeah, we've been there before.
So,
well, let me stop you, because most of our audience is American. So when Kingsley says club, it's not like in sports in America. It's a lot of times a school. It's part of the school, right?
I think you can compare that with AAU.
It's sort of like AAU. It's a club system outside of the school system. So it's like Kingsley's like AAU or PAL when I was growing up. But these are clubs that specify
communities. Every community in the city has its own football, soccer clubs, volleyball clubs.
Yes.
They have also basketball clubs. So it has nothing to do with school.
It's just totally separate.
So every evening these kids come together and then they practice with their coaches and stuff, and they play competition against other communities or towns. So that's how they are developed.
So that's how the club system works. So that's how sports works in most of Europe, right? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
I just want to make sure. I was here for a while. I just want to make sure I'm getting it right. That's why I got a pro. Okay, so let's go back to what were we talking about before?
We're talking about getting these kids into the club, like into the basketball,
feeding them into the basketball system, like a farm system.
The step was too big. There has to be, because I mean, when you get 2 or 3 demonstration lessons in your PT class, it's not enough to get you playing competitive basketball. So there have to be a middle step, but working with the local community, because the schools, most of the schools got interested in what I was doing. They started requesting through the local government, saying, hey, well, we've heard about this Kingsley doing clinics in our school, and we also want to have the Kingsley come into our school and do all these kind of things with the kids. And kids talk to one another from different schools. One kid goes home and explains, hey, we have Kingsley come to our school and do this demonstration and stuff like that. He goes to school and says, hey, tells the teacher, hey, we hear that the other school is having this kind of basketball demonstration lessons. Can we have? And so we don't know about it. So they called the sports council, the local sports council, and so the local sports council eventually got to me and said, well, I mean, these other schools are really interested in what I'm doing. So if you can go in and do those kind of programs, really, it became something that I do all day, go from school to school and organize this.
I know a little something about that.
So I mean, that was very successful. But the second step was that kids get so excited. The parents started asking, hey, man, why can't we do that? So what I did was that, like I told you before, there was a program, which was sponsored by the local government to keep kids after school program, basically. Kids that keep them off the, hanging around the corner. So what we did was that between school and the evening programs. We had a couple of hours. So what we did is we set up. First, we were using the gyms, the local gym, and these kids after school who really are excited about what I did, my demonstration, so can come there for an hour, and then we work on, we play about. So we have different kids from different schools all come together in one gym, okay, and then they get after school lessons, you know, and the parents come to pick them after, you know, after the lessons, and they go home and stuff like that. And that was the middle step to going. So now it gets more serious. You know, when they really choose to come, then they're serious. They really want to know more. So now we can get into developing.
Before the demonstration, now you from demonstration to coaching.
Exactly. Okay, you know, so that's the middle step that took place. So really, I mean, in that process, I got a lot of support from basketball clubs. You know, like the clubs, as we explained, you know, they got involved and they supported the program and stuff like that. So because it's in their interest, because eventually these kids go in there and then they play competition. Getting in doing those programs in gyms, you know, here we have the winter season, which gets dark very early and stuff. But during the summer period, the days are long,
very long.
In
this area of Europe, the sun does not go down until 10, 11 o'clock. And it comes up again like 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's coming back again. Very long days in this area of Europe. Okay.
So what we did was that because the idea of the local government is really get them outside, not really even in the sun. In the winter we're inside, but in the summer they want to get them outside.
Yes.
And so if they wanted to do that, they have because of the interest that was growing and things like the idea was that to get them to play basketball on the outside courts. You know, by seeing the numbers that I was pulling from this, they started with putting out outside courts, one or two. Man, if you see how these kids took to play the basketball on the outside courts, man, it was incredible. So basically they started in most communities in Maastricht. They laid down different basketball courts and stuff like that, and the kids were using. I mean, if the local government is putting out these facilities outside and the kids are using it,
everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy. Instead of hanging around smoking or doing all those kind of crazy things, they go there and they play basketball. So that was the first step, and to get them. It caught on. They were doing so. What we were doing, you remember those 3-on-3 tournaments? Come in there. So that was the next step.
Let me specify. Okay. I was here. I came to Maastricht in the military in '93. I was here from '93 to '96. And that's when I met Kingsley around 95. I think we met.
It was 95.
And it's because some of the American guys that I was working with were playing on the same basketball team at Kingsley. I'm not a basketball player. Let's be clear about that. I'm not going to tell you lies.
You tried it.
It's not my basketball. Exactly. All right. So just to be clear, I'm not a basketball player, but I hung around with the guys. They're American guys. We were on an international base. So of course, all the Americans sort of gravitated to each other. Most of us were black, so we all gravitated to each other. We hung out together. And Kingsley became part of our family because they played basketball together. That's how we met. Now, Kingsley brought us in to help promote and referee some of his tournaments, and it was an absolute blast. We'll talk about this. That's how he got me hooked on doing this stuff. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. But, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, you were a DJ.
I DJ'd a couple of too because I can't play basketball. But I can blow a whistle. I can ref, and these kids didn't know any better. Okay.
No, I mean, when you talk about education and stuff like that, I mean, these are some of the stuff that really go into education. Most of these kids would have ended up, hanging around the corner smoking and doing nothing. But with these programs, they just really found a purpose, and they all flowed back into the basketball clubs, played competitive basketball. I was a coach of one of the teams actually that flowed. The kids sort of flowed into the team, into the competitions. And I think the first year we really did very well for going to the national championship.
Wow!
And we placed, I think, 4th.
Wow! A bunch of kids that never played basketball.
Exactly. They played for 1 year. I mean, they had my program for about 6 months and practiced in club competition for a year. and just got to the. But they were playing against teams that have been practicing and playing competition for 3-4 years.
That's awesome.
And we came into the 4th place, so basically we were doing very well.
So they were playing Kingsley ball, sure.
So when you talk about education and stuff like that, I think this is a part of education that really doesn't get enough attention. That in terms of these kids finding their passion and really taking to it and
finding balance.
Exactly in what they do. And that is some of the areas that I think more attention must be paid to.
I agree because a lot of schools, especially in the States, schools some of the sports programs some of them have lost sports programs, or sports programs have broken off and the city handles them. And a lot of it is funding. A lot of it is it's a mess. Honestly, it's a mess.
I don't know about the system in the States.
There's a lot of it is funding because most school funding comes from local taxes. So especially local property taxes. So if the houses in a certain area aren't worth that much, there's not going to be a lot of property taxes going into that local community. And of course, the communities that are more impoverished have the least money going in. So it's a never-ending cycle. All right. So, but I'm on vacation. I'll tackle that more when I get back. But that's part of what we believe the Louisa Project can do is help people find ways to fix these problems through entrepreneurship and innovation, right? And talking to people like you with experiences like this can help people do that. Like, for instance, maybe somebody can come in and do like you did with basketball into maybe an area where those those things have been taken away because of finances, right? And maybe somebody a nonprofit could come in and fund somebody doing the same thing you did, going in doing some development for sports in the area. Now, I don't know if that's going on already. It may be going on already, but it's something that people can think about. And you don't have to starve doing it. And it can be your passion, but we don't think that you should be hungry because you're doing something that you love. Exactly. Because we've been through that. We've been there. And that's sort of where we're coming from. That's where the entrepreneurship piece comes in.
But this model that I implemented here, that is starting from school. What we were doing was that Maastricht has about 32 schools. And these schools we divided the schools into sub regions. Okay, so we have about 5 or 6 schools in one region. So what they do is that they get at least 4 or 5 basketball clinics, and then these 5 schools will form school teams, and they will play one tournament.
Okay.
Just to finish it, so they get in 3 weeks basketball clinics in their physical education lessons. Now every class has 2 physical education lessons, 1 hour a week. So we take one of the physical education lessons for the top 3 classes, and then we do basketball. Okay, so we do that over 3 weeks, and then the 4th week on a Wednesday afternoon, after school, they will all come into the gym. Also, the schools will come with their teams, and we will put a tournament, and they will come all those, the party and stuff. So it's really
DJ.
DJ. So then we'll so from one region we move to the other region. So we have about 6-7 regions that we do that, and with every tournament that we do, we put on information where they can play basketball and everything. So by the time we go around the whole city, we will have enough players, interested children, really to go into our program, and they move into the after school program. Okay,
the development program.
The development program, when they choose to know a little bit more about basketball. So it will be some kind. It was a period that we really couldn't get other sports to get involved, because a lot of kids who finally find out that basketball was nothing to them could have done other sports.
One other sport came in. Let's talk about that for a minute. What we've been hinting at for a while is, those of you who know me personally know that I spent a lot of time in Europe doing around football, right? American football, right? I played for a year in Rotterdam, and I found out I had a medical condition that I couldn't play anymore. So, and other than getting old, so I started coaching, and this is around the time that me and Kingsley were becoming friends. And when I was helping him with these things, he made this crazy suggestion. He suggested that maybe you can do the same thing with flag football that he was doing with basketball. I thought about it. I was like, that sounds like fun. He talked me into it, and I tried it. I got some flags, I got a couple of footballs, and he hooked me up with the school and the local Maastricht government. He got me in those rooms, and we pitched the idea, and they were all for it.
Yeah.
And Kingsley coaching me through this. He mentored me through the whole process of dealing with all these kids, because I'm not great with kids. I needed all the coaching I could handle, right? And he helped me through this process. And it was an amazing success. It was successful. It wasn't a financial success. The kids loved it. And it was great for everybody involved, but it wasn't good for my pocket. But at the same time, I loved it so much, I got out of the military to continue to do that in hopes that things would pick up. And during that time, the NFL Europe was still here in Amsterdam, and we were hoping that something would happen between us and since I'm down here doing this thing and basically out in the provinces, as they say, doing this thing, that I could hook up with the admirals and they would help me fund this, and we could find sponsors. But it never panned out like that, and life goes on. I was coaching other teams in Germany and Belgium and here in the Netherlands, and life moved on, and it didn't work out, but it was a blast. Introduced several kids, thousands of kids really to American football, and here in the Netherlands. And I had a couple of guys still playing. A couple of my guys are still playing, and a couple of them made the national team. I'm not gonna take all the credit, because they were good kids, they were smart kids, and they were good athletes, and all we did was try to train.
Chris Strahan.
Chris Strahan came and helped me out. Yeah. He came and took over after I decided I had to move on. Yeah. Chris Strahan, Michael Strahan's brother. Yeah, he came through and he took that the team that I was coaching. He took them to the national championship here in the Netherlands, which was awesome. Thank you, Chris. If you ever watch this, I'm gonna hit you up. All right. I got a question. I never asked you this question before. We've known each other, I don't know, almost 25 years, however long it's been. I never asked you, how many kids do you think you've introduced to basketball?
Oh my God! Now, let me put it into perspective.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When I did this for 10 years. Mm-hmm. Okay, I did this program for 10 years. The school program for 10 years. So you can do the math. We can play around with the numbers and say this. Okay. So Maastricht had, I think, 35 elementary schools. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for 10 years, I was doing this in this 32 schools, mm-hmm. and with only the top 3 classes. Mm-hmm. And so the 3 classes mostly will combine about, let's say, 30 kids in a class, mm-hmm. okay, times 3, that will give you about, say, 90 mm-hmm. kids. Okay, so for every school, 90 kids. Okay.
Times 32.
Times 32 for
year.
10 years.
God.
No, there's a point I'm saying. I mean, so many kids went through my hands, and up till now, when I walk in the city, I see people who say, "Is that Kingsley? Is that Kingsley? Is that Kingsley?" I'm turning around, I don't know who.
You know what I'm doing up there with little kids. You saw
exactly. So, golly, I never could walk on the streets of Maastricht and not know. Have been known. Basically, almost everybody knew.
Yeah.
Even what's funny about that is that I go in and we do this PT lessons, and maybe it's a last lesson. Mostly it's a mm-hmm. last lesson of the day or just mm-hmm. of the afternoon or something like that. So when you come out, I mean, these kids go out. When the lesson is over, the kids go out, you know, and then you wrap up and clean up, and then so when I'm going out. Mm-hmm. These kids will be with their parents and stuff like that, and they'll be pointing at, that's Kingsley, that's Kingsley. So basically, it's not only the kids who got to know me, but the parents too.
You can't hide. Kingsley can't hide.
Actually hide. When I go out in a restaurant or a cafe or something like that, oh, you are the teacher of basketball. Oh, you are. So basically, how many kids? Who, boy? That's
so 10 years.
That's a
90
crazy
kids,
number.
32 schools. That's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids. That's the whole.
I'm not even gonna do the math.
That's the whole
math.
Even the schools that I didn't do programs,
Mm-hmm.
these kids are friends with other kids who have done the program. They talk about it,
Mm-hmm.
and because I'm in town, maybe a group of friends, maybe a group of 5
Mm-hmm.
kids,
Yeah.
and 3 of them have received from me blessings from me, but the 2 not, and they meet me and they say, "Oh, that's Kingsley." So the 2, although I've not been in their class teaching them,
But
I
that's
see them.
Kingsley.
And also the after school program, you see kids from other schools where
Mhm.
I have not went over there
Okay.
come in, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
basically, the number is just, but I'm sure that at
Mhm.
one point, kids between 13 to 18 to 20 years, all the kids in Maastricht between 13 and 20 years knew who I am.
Wow.
So I just,
Yeah.
it's, I can say I was more popular than the mayor of my.
You could have been the man. Mayor Kingsley, Mayor Kingsley.